Imagine a map of China with its vast territory stretching from the Yellow River to the Yangtze. Now picture the capital city moving across this landscape not once, but 5 times throughout history. Why would an empire uproot its political heart so frequently? The first major capital was Zean, known as Chang'an in ancient times. Established during the Zhou dynasty around 1000 BCE, it became the political center of early Chinese civilization. Its location in the fertile Wei River Valley provided agricultural abundance and natural protection. But by the Eastern Han Dynasty around 25 CE, the capital shifted eastward to Luoyang. This move reflected changing political dynamics and the need to be closer to the economic heartland. Luoyang's position along the Luo River made it a strategic crossroads. The third major move came during the Northern Song Dynasty in 960 CE, when the capital moved to Kaifeng. This was a bold departure from tradition, placing the capital further east in the Yellow River Plain. Kaifeng's location made it vulnerable but strategically positioned for trade. Then came the dramatic shift to Nanjing during the early Ming Dynasty in 1368. After overthrowing the Mongol Yuan dynasty, Emperor Hongwu established his capital in the south. Nanjing represented a return to Han Chinese roots and control of the wealthy Yangtze region. But the most significant move was yet to come. In 1421, Emperor Yongle relocated the capital north to Beijing, where it has remained for over 600 years. This decision would shape China's destiny in ways no one could have predicted. Let's examine the first capital, Zean. Its strategic value lay in what historians call the Guanzhong Basin, a natural fortress surrounded by mountains. This made it easily defensible, a crucial consideration in ancient warfare. Zean's location also placed it at the eastern end of the Silk Road. This brought wealth, cultural exchange, and technological innovation. For centuries, it was the gateway between China and Central Asia. However, Zean had weaknesses. Its western location meant it was distant from the growing economic centers in the east. As population shifted and agriculture developed in the Yellow River Plain, political power naturally followed. The move to Luoyang addressed these issues. Located further east, it was closer to the Grand Canal system that connected North and South China. This gave the capital better access to grain supplies and taxation revenue. Luoyang also held deep cultural significance. It was considered the geographical center of all under heaven, the traditional Chinese concept of the civilized world. This symbolic positioning reinforced imperial legitimacy. But Luoyang faced its own challenges. Its position made it vulnerable to attacks from the north. As nomadic tribes grew stronger, the capital needed better protection. This vulnerability would eventually lead to another move. Kaifeng represented a radical departure. Unlike the mountainous protection of Zean or the central position of Luoyang, Kaifeng sat on flat plains. Its defense relied on massive city walls and the Yellow River's natural barrier. The Song dynasty chose Kaifeng for economic reasons. It was at the intersection of major canal networks, making it a commercial hub. The government could more easily control trade and collect taxes from this position. Yet Kaifeng's vulnerability became tragically apparent. In 1127, the Jurchen Jin dynasty captured the city, ending the Northern Song. The flat plains that enabled commerce also made defense nearly impossible against determined invaders. After the Mongol Yuan dynasty fell, the Ming dynasty's founder chose Nanjing. This southern capital represented a break from Mongol influence and a return to Han Chinese traditions. The Yangtze River provided both defense and economic opportunity. Nanjing had been capital before, during the Sixth Dynasty's period. Its re-establishment signaled continuity with earlier Chinese states. The city's name itself means southern capital, reflecting its historical role. But Nanjing had a fatal flaw from the Ming perspective. It was too far from the northern frontier. Mongol remnants still threatened from the north, and the capital needed to be closer to monitor and respond to these threats. This brings us to Beijing. When Emperor Yongle moved the capital north in 1421, he was returning to the Yuan dynasty's capital site. But his reasons were profoundly different from the Mongols. Yongle had personal reasons for preferring Beijing. He had been Prince of Xi'an, governing the northern regions before becoming emperor. He understood the strategic importance of controlling the frontier personally. But beyond personal preference, Beijing offered unmatched strategic advantages. It was close enough to the Great Wall to coordinate defense, yet far enough inland to be protected by multiple defensive layers. Beijing sat at the intersection of three crucial regions: the Central Plains to the south, the Mongolian Plateau to the north, and the Manchurian Plains to the northeast. This made it ideal for controlling multiple frontiers. The city's location also allowed control of the vital pass at Shanhaiguan, where the Great Wall meets the sea. Whoever held Beijing controlled access between Manchuria and the Central Plains, a crucial geopolitical choke point. Beijing's northern position addressed what historians call the steppe zone divide, the tension between nomadic peoples of the north and agricultural societies of the south. The capital became a bridge between these two worlds. Economically, Beijing was connected to the Grand Canal's northern terminus. While not as commercially central as Kaifeng, it could still receive grain shipments from the south while maintaining northern defense priorities. The construction of the Forbidden City symbolized Beijing's permanence. Unlike temporary palaces in previous capitals, this was designed as an eternal seat of power. Its layout followed precise cosmological principles. Beijing's choice proved prescient during the Ming-Qing transition. When the Manchus invaded from the northeast in 1644, they captured Beijing and made it their capital. The city's strategic value transcended dynastic changes. The Qing dynasty reinforced Beijing's importance. They expanded the empire northward and westward, making Beijing even more centrally located within their territories. The city became the hub of a multi-ethnic empire. In the 20th century, there were brief considerations of moving the capital. After the 1911 revolution, some suggested Nanjing as more modern and progressive, but Beijing's historical weight and strategic position prevailed. Even today, Beijing's location addresses modern strategic concerns. It's sufficiently inland to be protected from naval threats, yet connected to coastal economic zones. The capital balances historical legacy with contemporary needs. Looking back at all five capitals, we see patterns. Each move responded to specific threats: Western threats for Zean, Northern threats for Beijing. Each balanced defense needs with economic considerations. The capital movements also reflect China's changing geographical priorities. Early capitals focused on the Yellow River region. Later moves incorporated the Yangtze region. Beijing ultimately balanced both while adding northern frontier control. Beijing succeeded where other capitals failed because it solved multiple problems simultaneously. It defended against northern threats while maintaining connections to southern resources. It balanced Han Chinese traditions with multi-ethnic empire management. The city also benefited from what economists call path dependence. Once established, the investment in infrastructure, the concentration of bureaucracy, and the symbolic weight made relocation increasingly unthinkable. Today, Beijing stands as one of the world's oldest continuously serving capitals. Its 600-year tenure surpasses even ancient Rome's duration as capital. This longevity speaks to the wisdom of its original selection. The story of China's wandering capital teaches us about imperial strategy. It shows how geography shapes history, how defense needs trump economic convenience, and how some locations possess timeless strategic value. Beijing's endurance also reflects a deeper truth about Chinese civilization, its ability to adapt while maintaining continuity. The capital moved to meet changing threats, but always within a framework of imperial tradition. So why did China move its capital 5 times? Because each dynasty faced unique challenges requiring new solutions. And why did Beijing stick? Because it finally provided the perfect balance of defense, control, and connection that earlier capitals lacked. From the mountains protecting Zean to the canals feeding Kaifeng, from the Yangtze defending Nanjing to the northern passes securing Beijing, each capital tells a chapter in China's epic story of survival and adaptation. The wandering capital has finally found its permanent home, but the lessons of those moves continue to resonate, reminding us that in geopolitics, as in life, location isn't just everything, it's the only thing that lasts through centuries of change.